Hi, it's Cara. Welcome to Bianca Reads. It's my middle name if you haven't figured that out. And it is time for my best of 2021. So these are my favorites of 2021. I feel like best of is wrong. It's my personal favorite, and I did have a hard time narrowing it down, so I'm still giving you 21 favorites because I am that bitch. And let's go through it today. I want to make this video as quick as possible because I'm showing you 21 things that I think you should read if you haven't already. I am going to give you just like a buzzword of the book, like one phrase, buzzword phrase that sums up the book, and my favorite maybe two things about it. I want to make it really quick. I want to make this video fast, speedy. I don't want to be here for 40 minutes. You don't want to be here for 40 minutes. Let's play Cara's favorites of 2021. You must read this ASAP speed round. So obviously I have talked about all of these in detail in a wrap up sometime during this year. So if you really want to know in-depth thoughts, feel free to like roll back through my wrap ups. I might start with the things I don't own physically because I have my little list on my laptop here, and then I can just shut my laptop once we're done with that and go for ham. So the first one I don't own a physical copy of is Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. This is a thriller, domestic murder mystery buzzword. It follows a doula, a kidnapping, and missing women. This, for me, my favorite thing was the twists. I don't read a lot of thrillers, but when I do, I tend to love them because I don't read many. But I have heard, like I watched Kayla from Books and Lala talk about this. She reads a lot of thrillers. She still really loved this one as well. So the twists and turns are definitely not like predictable in my opinion. Like it's still like pretty out there. You might predict them. I feel like some people are always like on top of thrillers. If you're a huge thrill person and you haven't read this, I don't know. But I was shocked, stunned, agape many times while reading this, and it's super dark. Probably the darker thrillers. It was pretty dark. Then we have Hench by Natalie Zena Walshots. I've listened to this on audiobook. This is henchwoman of supervillain or villain becomes injured by hero. She's a henchman for hire. Sorry, henchman for hire gets injured by superhero. Life mission: attaining revenge. It was so good. My favorite things about this were the characters, but also the world building was just hilarious. Then we have Mrs. Death by Selena Godin. This I would describe as poetic musings on death. It was very dark. We do follow a main character dealing with some like maybe schizoaffective things. It's also a lot about like law and magic, mainly death. What is this hair doing? I've literally been to the beach, so my hair is like a mess, but I'm rolling with it. My favorite things about this were the lyrical writing and the like rhythm and pacing, which I just thought were amazing, especially in the audiobook, which is narrated by the author. A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is Brides of Dracula, except we don't give a shit about Dracula. He's a villain. We hate Dracula. We don't talk about him. We're getting revenge on him. Loved this. My favorite things about it were the polyamory representation and the writing style. It was really cool. It's epistolary, so told in letters. An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. Sci-fi, ship through space. Ship has become whole ecosystem for humans, but what are they traveling to? And also we follow a healer. I loved the writing style on this. This is a black sci-fi, Afrofuturism, so it deals a lot with racism, and it's like aligned with the Dex, of like where you live, very racistly. Favorite things were the writing style, and the main character was amazing to read from. I thought she was so interesting. Cute Mutants Volume 1. I can't even remember what the actual like tag title is of this, by S.J. Whitby. Superheroes, no, they're not superheroes, they're mutants, X-Men, but make it set in New Zealand with teenagers who have the shittiest mutant powers. The main character, inanimate objects talk to her. Her boyfriend can light things on fire when he's horny. One character gives everyone else mutant powers by kissing them. It's so good. It has a lot of diverse queer and ethnicity representation, and my favorite thing is the Australian / Kiwi style of humor. Alright, now let's jump to the things I do own a physical copy of. Honey Nishi's Guide to Fake Dating by Adiba Jagada. This is a Bangladeshi romance, rom-com YA between two girls who are fake dating because one of them wants to prove she's bisexual enough because no one will believe her, and they fake date. So good. My favorite things are the family dynamics and the sweet romance. This is also set in Ireland because Adiba is an Irish author, Irish Bangladeshi author. The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers, 4th book in the what's the series called? Long Way to a Small Angry Planet Wayfarers series. This is about a group of people being stuck on a small planet that's like a way station after an event happens, and my favorite things are the family dynamics and the interesting ways all the characters and aliens interact with each other. Love it. Blackwater Sister by Zen Cho. This is set in Malaysia. Main character grew up in America, moved back to Malaysia with her family. She sees ghosts. It's hilarious. She's trying to solve some problems of some spirits. The family dynamics in this were the most hilarious and best part. She's also a lesbian and she doesn't want her family to know. So there's that going on as well. So good. The Marrow Thieves by Sherry Dimeline. This has been out for a while. This is a Native American story. Oh, the author is Métis, and this is looking at the idea of if everybody stopped being able to dream except for the indigenous peoples, and to be able to dream again, white people start hunting indigenous people for their bone marrow. Heartbreaking, hopeful. I thought this was stunning. There is also a sequel that just released or is just about to release. Memory of Souls by Jem Lyons. Really, this whole series, the Chorus of Dragons series, this is book 3. It's a big chunky high fantasy told in multiple perspectives, and it's a will he save the world or will he destroy it narrative. My favorite things are the polyamory rep, I still want to know if it's a happily ever after or not, and the multiple timelines, which could be confusing but are my favorite part. The Witch King by H.E. Edgman. This is a campy story about a fairy, a non-binary fairy who's escaped fairyland, but has been forced to come back because his betrothed wants them to get married. So main character's trans mask, fairies. It's super campy. It's so good. Shadowgast by Thomas Taylor. This is a middle grade. It's the 3rd book in a series. This whole series is whimsical and magical and eerie. And in this one, a puppet show can steal souls. The Forest of Stolen Girls by June He. Historical mystery set in China. No, Korea. Set in Korea. What am I doing? Set in Korea. And sisterhood. They're looking for their missing father, but they have been estranged their whole life. Writing style, amazing. Sisterly bonds, amazing. XX, a novel graphic by Ryan Hughes. I don't know if I actually recommend this to everyone, but it will not leave my head. It is 1,000 pages. It's the longest book I read this year. It's wild. It's a ride. If you don't like sci-fi, don't read it. It's very hard sci-fi. I was obsessed. I was obsessed. Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, a pre-colonialist South America and fantasy following solstice. There's a priest with his eyes cut out, but he can see through birds. This was so fascinating. I really can't wait for the sequel. A Song for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. Of course, Becky Chambers makes it on here twice. This is about a little tea monk and a robot. The robots haven't been seen for a long time, and everyone lives in a like naturalistic lifestyle, rejecting robots because there was a robot uprising. And the tea monk is the cutest thing ever. It's also incredibly short. The Girls I've Been by Tess Sharp. The tagline of this is a girl and her boyfriend, no, her and her girlfriend go into a bank, and her boyfriend's also in line. It's a bit awkward, and then the bank gets robbed. But she's lived a life of calm. Sapphic, amazing. Another sapphic brilliance, we have Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. Big, chunky, 3 stories in one. We follow 3 actors in a complicated relationship with each other as they play 3 characters in a movie. Oh no, they play 2 of them actors. One is working on the movie. It's the movie about a book she wrote. Plus the tale of the movie. Plus it's so layered. Some people hate this. I freaking love this. It's so good. Doesn't have a satisfying conclusion though. So I liked it. It's not particularly satisfying. Book I just finished the other day, The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. This is a gothic horror. We follow Jane, who gets married in a marriage of convenience, not convenience, it's an arranged, they sign, like they contract their marriage together. He is a doctor, and he says in their rules before they get married that she will never visit his home. She will stay at his work, like the surgery, but things go wrong and she ends up at his house. It's a horror. The writing style in this was amazing. The pace and the build and just how it was all structured, so good. And finally, my arguably absolute favorite book of the year. It absolutely blew my mind, but I can't tell you why because it would be a major spoiler. And that is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. It's the 3rd book in a trilogy. You do need to read the first 2. These are murder mysteries told in a podcasty kind of style. It's mixed, like first person, but also some podcast elements. This is chunky. It's like 600 pages, 550 pages. The first half, I was like, could pick up. Don't know how this is a whole book. It picked up, my dudes. It picked up. That second half was a whirlwind. What the shit happened? I need more people to read this series because I need more people to read this book so I can scream about the ending. Currently, it's me and Art from Ink and Plasma. I think Mouse from Mouse Reads has also read this, screaming into the void because what was that ending? What was the second half of this book? Fucking wild. So those were all the books that I would recommend to you. They are my favorite books of the year. There were quite a many that were pretty close. I am pretty generous with my 5-star ratings, and I had a lot more 5-star ratings than this. And I tried to narrow it down to ones that really stuck with me, or I think will stick with me long term. So I hope you get some lovely recommendations in this list. I don't really do recommendations videos often, it's not my vibe, but I will do a best of every year. So I hope you enjoy this. And if you read any of these or have read any of these and want to chat with me about them, please do. I would rave about these any day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.